Hi guys, welcome back into my channel. I'm Meg, and in today's podcast, I will be sharing about finding your flow and what provides balance for me, in hopes that it will help you to reflect on what can help you find and attract more flow in your life. Now, to start, what do I mean by the word flow? I think, as we all know, there's this whole notion of going with the flow and not trying to swim upstream. But really, what it has to do with is allowing things to kind of go on their own and not to try to force or control things, but instead to opt to sort of allow yourself to move and groove with whatever life throws your way. So for me, I found that early on with a lot of, especially career things and relationships, you sort of have to let things be on their own track. And that doesn't mean ignoring or not putting effort or energy into things. But what it does mean is putting those things in from an intention and a place of goodness in which you are not trying to control the outcome. So finding our flow each day allows us to get into a good, positive headspace that helps us to vibrate at a high level and emanate all this goodness out into the universe so that we are co-creating and sending out healthy energy that will attract that which we're hoping to see in our own lives. So what puts me in flow? I mean, water literally is probably the most I feel in flow. Swimming, frolicking, or even listening to water, waves crashing, a fountain, the shower. I mean, it's really a blessing, and it always helps me feel pure and refreshed. I also drink a ton of water and find hydration to be big for my body and soul to feel in flow. And it's a natural resource, and there are things that come with the availability of that and feeling gratitude in being able to have it. I know, like today, for example, I have a little space to myself, and I'm definitely going to go to the ocean and walk because the waves and just the energy that emanates when I get there is soul therapy, and I feel that I am instantly recalibrated. Also, the smell of the water and the ocean and the beach, which takes me to my next thing in flow: fresh air. Don't you guys just love fresh air? I always have my windows open at home and in the car, and sunshine and the natural elements all around us, observing the chirping birds or a night owl are hugely important for me to feel connected to the universe and just to breathe. And we have this life force within us that is required to breathe. And when we're outside and we're just naturally inhaling this fresh air, it feels so invigorating. I'm sure you can relate. Please drop me a note in the comments down below on the things that put you into flow. Next for me, stars, our galaxy, and night skies. I am obsessed with looking up each night, and I've become more curious about the constellations and moon phases and just astrology in general, like the non-physical realm. And I've always sort of felt connected to it, but I feel so enamored and in flow anytime I listen to a tarot reading or about planets and the shifting, or even just physically looking up at night to admire the bright stars that are there. There's also this really cool app that's called sky view or skylight. And if you are interested, it's really neat. You point your camera up to the sky and it tells you what the stars or planets or constellations or zodiac are up there. It's amazing. Movement physically of my body in any way definitely puts me in flow. And I would say especially mindful movement, so a walk or hike, biking, swimming, stretching, yoga. As an all-American athlete my whole life and retired volleyball player, I have always been an athlete in terms of how I approach my life and my mindset. But one of the things too is the difference in how I like to move my body, 20 years past my career as to when I was actually physically competing. And it's funny, I never thought I could get over the loss of my career. It's like a death, and you become a new person and you reinvent yourself. But our bodies are no different. And it's interesting as we're in Scorpio season, with this full moon coming up, that the movement physically is really healthy, and being aware of how we move our bodies. So, what else puts me in flow? I mean, I could go on for hours, but travel and other cultures, like the unknown, feeling a sense of adventure, and for me, like physically being out of my comfort zone actually puts me in flow, because I think the way that my empathic soul is wired, I find beauty in everyone and every culture and appreciate exactly what that is, and knowing that there are differences in ways that we all live our lives, especially throughout the world. But there's nothing right or wrong. It's just unique. And I love travel for that. It really opens your eyes to realizing there's not one path or one way to do anything. And actually, you see other people and other groups completely taking a different approach. And it's such a learning experience. So I feel like that puts me in flow. I'm on the way shortly, and tomorrow I leave to go to the Wisdom 2.0 conference in San Francisco, and I'm really looking forward to being just engrossed in wonderful conversations with other healers and people that are working in the mindfulness space, and hopefully gathering so much knowledge and wisdom from other cultures. I would be remiss not to say art of any medium, like sketching, illustrating, painting, collaging, working with my hands. I went to fashion design school. I love working with fabric. That makes me feel like I could just create, and that taps into my creative side. And I think as we think of what puts us in flow, it's so important, guys, that you offer yourself the gift of time to insert these wonderful things that do make you feel in flow into every single day. And I understand that there's demands and responsibilities that we all have, and the size and scope of those is definitely different for each of us. But there is always a way, if you prioritize it and it is important to your self-love practice, it really can completely transform your life. Yoga and meditation obviously puts me in a flow too, just connecting the breath with the movement and really staying present in the moment, because every day our body is different, and it allows opportunity to sort of nurture something different when we get on the mat. Solo time to reflect is another thing that really puts me in flow. I'm the type of ambivert that needs interaction, of course, but I do find such grace and time on my own to convert the ideas of the day into action plans, and also just to really enjoy the gratitude wave that comes across from all the wonderment in life, and also just reading and absorbing and being. I'm a big writer too. Writing is key. I think it's something that we can do to share our thoughts with ourselves. And then obviously, writing can be so powerful as a tool to write poetry or to write a book or an article. It's really like admitting to our dreams and shouting them out to the world. So I'm a huge proponent of journaling, and that's something that I think offers us the gift of accessing the higher wisdom from ourselves. Cooking is another one of my favorites that definitely puts me into the flow, and especially after a day, if I'm on set at a shoot, it's so nice to toss on a little music, to chop up vegetables, and sort of see what creation will come about. It's such a creative outlet for me, and I think cooking is something that, because it nourishes our body and we're so in touch and in tune, hopefully, with how certain foods and drinks sort of react with our system, it allows us to just make another dedicated choice to self-love before we wind down our day. Okay, this is a big one. Billboard. Greenery puts me in a major flow because it's so soothing. Walking by or living with lots of plants and trees. I mean, I'm 100% a plant lady, and caring for my trees and plants and succulents are a form of self-expression and love, and they feed off our energy. But every time I leave, even if I just go to the pool to swim or to go stop by and see my parents and come home, it's like these beautiful plants are just here and thriving. And you guys realize that they thrive off of the oxygen amongst other plants and also us. So it's never a bad idea to just say hi to your plants once in a while. Styling and art direction of homes and shoots and wardrobes and flowers and wellness altars, you name it. I love to style and bring concepts together in a unique, natural, authentic way. I am a creative director, so simple style and simple connection points that tell powerful stories, that puts me in flow. I love to be a storyteller. I also find that the design principles are constantly around us in nature, in ourselves, in the people that we interact with. Okay, just a couple more. Philosophical conversations and real human dialogue light me up more than ever. Sharing your innermost thoughts in a safe way, knowing that judgments won't appear. This is something that I really feel like speaks to my heart and many of my close tribe members too. It's just important that we are able to share our innermost feelings and have conversations about meaningful topics in our life and know that someone's listening and that we are received and we are heard and we are acknowledged. And last but definitely not least, actually a couple things. I love curtain and chanting, and I've recently joined a satsang group on Wednesdays at this beautiful temple of joy at Ananda and Encinitas for anybody that's local. It is pure magic. I feel so elated every time I'm there to sing, and then we meditate. It's like a form of verbal prayer, and it's this ancient wisdom that we are carrying through and weaving into our own lives. And I honestly feel like it's so healthy for our central nervous system. And then last but definitely not least, at least for this video, I just love holding space as I lead meditation and recording these videos that I'm doing right now and feeling into my heart chakra to truly share what's coming through in a real manner, because I think for any of you others that are empaths and have been on this self-worth healing journey, I did not speak up for myself for many years, and I just sort of allowed myself to exist in a way that was pleasing for others, if that makes sense. But I feel like I really stepped into myself these last 5 years where I don't mind taking up space and I love to share my thoughts and opinions. And I also feel like being our authentic self and sharing the parts of ourselves that are even vulnerable is not only needed, but it's something that I feel on a core level like needed to come out of my system. So I would love to hear the things that put you guys into flow and sort of ways that you're trying to infuse that into your own daily life. Because as we know, the more self care practices that we do and that we're able to inject into every day, we just have a much more meaningful, happy existence. And who doesn't want that? So I hope you enjoyed this podcast of what puts you in the flow. And please feel free to reach out and to like and share and subscribe and all the things. I'm super passionate. I'm not going anywhere. And I'm wishing you all a really, really awesome day. Take care.